Welcome back to On the Peg with me, your host, the Eyebrow Racing, the Bearded Toyaholic, the Mad Montreal Man, the guy you go, why am I watching this guy every time you watch the show? But that's okay. I can take that as long as you're watching the show. And as you know, it's time for another regular episode of the show. And contrary to popular belief, we're not doing a DC. No. We're not doing a little one action figure special. No, we're doing four. Four wonderful figures that I sometimes ask myself, why am I buying these? So, as you saw in the special, we're doing Street Fighter 2, the final boss. So, of course, we've got Ken in white. We've got M. Bison in his blue outfit. We've got, of course, one of my favorite characters, Cammy. And a character I honestly forgot existed, because I never played this character, DJ. Yeah. If you played DJ, let me know. I was Ken quite often, because back in those days, I had blonde hair. Yes, editor, I didn't always have gray hair. I had blonde hair back then. So, what do you say? Well, let's take a look at Ken. Well, once again, I do give him credit for the packaging. It looks like a Vito console. But, you know what time it is, right? It's time for Dr. Scalpel to get to work. So, we'll be back after we get him out of the package, throw in a close-up, and we'll talk about Ken. Not Barbie, just Ken. I don't buy Barbies. Don't even go there. You saw in the close-up, he's pretty well detailed. So far, most of these Street Fighters have been pretty well detailed. I still prefer my older series. They're actually 7 inches or taller. I don't really remember a boat scene in the game. Maybe I am getting old. I don't know. I don't remember the boat scene, so I don't quite get the background in this case. And, of course, I dropped it on the floor. That's how much I care about it. But, of course, he comes with spare hands, alternate head, and the effects, and the base that actually is for the effects, not for him. But, you know, let's just continue looking at Ken, shall we? Okay, I give him credit. It's a pretty good face sculpt. It makes me think of the character. There's good articulation. I mean, the feet work, everything else. These, unfortunately, the jackets do limit. As you can see, it's a bit limiting with what you could do with them because it's a pretty thick rubber. But he does have twisting action. But not bad. It's he'll go with the rest of the Street Fighters I now have from Street Fighter 2. Yeah. But he just doesn't compare to my original Ken. Okay, no, not Barbie. Okay, I bought Barbie in the past for my daughters. Okay? I don't collect Barbie. I didn't even see that movie. I don't want to see that movie. It just terrifies me. Ugh. But here's Ken in all his wonderful glory. Now, the funny thing is, when I used to play this game, I had blonde hair, but I also had a beard. That was blonde, editor. But there's Ken. Yeah, so there he is. So let's put Ken aside. Let's continue. M. Bison. Yeah. I do remember I did get to the point where I fought M. Bison, like in the final boss thing, and I sucked. Then again, we were playing on full-size arcade machines, so it's, they used to eat my quarters, let's just put it that way. But oddly enough, my favorite game in the arcade was Alien the Gun. That was a fun game to play. I used to play that game all the time. Actually, in Montreal, If you're old enough to remember what it was like in Montreal going to the arcade, especially on near Peel Street, you would have seen Alien the gun. You would have seen NOR as a top 15 score player for an entire year. That was me. Yes. I also remember when I went to Vancouver, those 2 arcades that had the Alien the gun, I was the top 15 scores on that. And when I eventually went back a year later to Vancouver, I was still the top 15. I used to love that game. Street Fighter, I sucked at. I just don't want to spend as much money playing a game that I was going to suck at. It was fun to play, but yeah. All right, so I'll be back after Bison's close-up. Well, you saw in the close-up, I left the cape on. He does have alternate shoulder pads, which I spent about 10 minutes trying to put on over the other ones, but then I read the instructions. I actually read the instructions. You're supposed to remove the old shoulder pads to put these on. I'm not going to bother. Alternate head, spare hands, spare shoulder pads, special effects. You expect the same. Background, once again, this one makes sense. But as you can see, Bison in blue. Now, the shoulder pads, I do give them one credit. They actually slide forward and back. That's a nice way of doing their shoulder pads, because this way you don't limit the articulation that much. I give them credit for that. Wired cape. But I think that's probably the best thing about this thing. The shoulder pads actually, look, they go forward, they go back. Sculpting's okay. It's the same body as the previous Bison in red. It's a reused body buck. Kind of cool though, nice to have. I still prefer my 7-inch one. And yeah, if you do get these, very, very stiff elbow joints. I haven't had a chance to warm them up yet, but not bad if you're a Street Fighter collector. It's okay. The cape is actually probably the best feature on this one, because it really is a decently wired cape. But yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe it's a curse I have with Bisons. Every Bison I've had, 7-inch and these smaller ones, the elbows are always extremely stiff. But there he is. Let's move on, shall we? Okay. Cammy. I always liked Cammy. I mean, I think, at least 3 versions of Cammy from the original series, and I will include those, by the way, when I come back after her close-up. But let's get Cammy out of the box, and we'll be back real soon. Okay, like every other Street Fighter, she comes with an alternate head, hands, an effect. No base for the effect. Okay. The background is not bad. It's not a bad background. It kind of makes sense. It's just, you know, the Northern Lights. But let's look at Cammy. Well, right off the bat, I like the way that the hair is sculpted. I like the fact there's abs where the torso is. I'm not going to show that because I'm not going to be one of those toyaholics who's a bit of a perv who likes focusing on a certain part of the female anatomy when they review a toy. I prefer the face. Okay. Now, I did say I have the previous versions of Cammy, and you know, as you can see, there's a height difference. But in some ways, I like this one better because it doesn't have that torso thingy, which I hate these U-shapes. Also, her, well, the costume's about the same in the back and the front, but yeah, it's, I've had these for a while. The only thing I like more about these, if you take a look, is if you look at the face, you actually have the spyglass. You know, that wonderful communication device. Yes, I have her in purple as well. But let's get back to her. So, bonus is, and in this case, I actually don't mind the size, because, not to sound mean, not all women are freaking that tall. And the way her musculature is done in this way, this Street Fighter is a better Street Fighter than this one. I don't mind the height. I don't mind the more musculature she's got. I actually do like this one. This one is one I do recommend. If you're a Street Fighter fan, pick this one up. It's got good detail in the torso. The face is nicely sculpted. It's missing, of course, the communication device, but that's fine. Not a bad action figure. Do pick this one up if you're a Street Fighter fan. So let's move on. And on and on. With the character I don't remember. Yeah, I really don't remember DJ at all. As I said previously, if you played DJ, let me know how good was DJ of a character. I mean, I mostly played Ken because, you know, I made me think of myself. Let's not go there. Yeah, let's Dr. Scalpel time again and get him out, do his close-up, and we'll be back. I really don't remember this backdrop either, but then again, I don't remember the character. But DJ comes with, of course, the stand for his special effect. Spare head, gold necklace. I don't quite get why he's got that finger, and I don't get the fingers. Like I said, I never played this character. I had to look him up. He's the Street Fighter from Brazil. But let's take a look at him again, shall we? Now, I do give him credit. I like this. The fact that it's maximum on the pant leg, it looks good. I'm not a big fan of these kind of joints, you know that. He's well detailed. I mean, the musculature is there. The face sculpt is there. I left this face on because the other one, I'm not a big fan of. Not a bad addition to the collection. I wish I knew more about him. I just don't. My biggest problem, though, is when you're doing pants, you get that weird, so you definitely want to pose them facing forward. But that's it. My little Street Fighter review is done until the next time I pick some up. And I remember when I picked these guys up, they were kind of like, you collect DC Multiverse. I picked up one on a whim and now got a whole bunch. Go figure. That's the problem of being a toyaholic. But all that said, that's it for this episode of On the Peg. Please hit like, please subscribe, please share the videos, comment on the videos, and do your best, of course, especially with the flu season still lingering, and you know, the change in the weather. Do your best to stay healthy. And even though I don't know who this guy really is, getting another action figure is a nice way to stay happy. And of course, even though you might have to fake it some days, you know, because sometimes your mental health just needs you to fake it. You need to, but you do your best to stay positive. And we will see you next Friday for another On the Peg with me, your host, the eyebrow-raising, bearded toyaholic. You know who I am. Until then, take care. Hey, you there? Hey, welcome back to On the Peg with me, your host, the eyebrow-raising, the bearded toyaholic, the Mad Montreal Man. There's a blooper for you. Hey, welcome back to... I fucking brain froze.